What's going on, running fans, jumping fans, throwing fans, all around athletics fans? How's it going? Welcome to Talking in Ovals. If you like the world of athletics, you have found yourself in the right place here. And I'm very excited again. We have a guest back, Hyatt. We're in good shape. We don't have to try and fill a show with our hot air again. It's a really, really good time. What's going on, Dave?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm in good physical shape, but yes, we are in good shape in terms of having our podcast.
Yeah. Podcast shape, we're in really good shape. So before we get into anything fun, before I introduce our guest, got to do my big spiel here. Like, share, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, spread this word of mouth. And as always, go follow our Twitter at Talking in Ovals. We try to interact with as many people in running as possible. And, the running world is fun with that too, because Twitter is Twitter, but you never know who's always going to kind of have a good conversation with you. And the conversations about running are actually a lot less toxic on Twitter, I found, than they are on like the Let's Run board. So if you're looking to talk to running, go to Twitter instead. So again, today is November 7th of 2022. That's when we're recording this. Love to get that in there. But let's introduce our guest, because our guest has some exciting stuff to talk about, which I think anyone in the area, hopefully they could still sign up and they can go and have some fun. So our guest today is Coach Adam Nalven. He's the race director for a new exciting road race called the River Rock and Run Relay. He's also a marathoner and he's a high school track coach. We've had the head coach that he works with on the show a few episodes back, and now he's here. The South Brunswick Circle is strong. What's going on, Adam?
Great. Everything is good. Thanks for having me on here. Yes, you're getting through all the great coaching staff that we have.
Listen to him being so nice, being so modest. Just before he was saying he's the best, and everyone, no, I'm kidding, everybody. Anyone from South Brunswick, he was not naysaying you. But no, I'm pumped to have you on. I really, really am excited to talk about this race. So let's jump right into it. Because, like I said, you started a race, the River Rock and Run Relay. That's a lot of R's. I'm really trying not to mess it up. I'm like, this is like Peter Pepper, pick a peckle, pickle peppers type of race.
I'm also an English teacher, so it's alliteration. So yes,
I enjoy it. Just what we just call this like the Quad R race, like Quad R. Let's go run the Quad R, everyone. So that race is going on November 12th. So a few days from this recording, 5 days from the time of this recording. Give us a little info about that race. And, it's a different race. So what makes this race different from any other road race that people are going to run?
Yeah, so this is it's a unique event. I was trying to put on, a race. I live in Brick, and I think we have a great area to run here and a great running community that I wanted to try to get to be built up even more, and doing it for a good cause. So I had approached the River Rock restaurant, which is a waterfront marina bar restaurant in Brick, and said I had this idea for putting on a race, and they were all for it to host. And basically what makes it a little different is it's your standard 5K. It's a double loop 5K, kind of similar to the Tom's River 5K. Dave, I believe, is that a double loop as well?
It is.
Yeah, so it's kind of taking a little bit from that, but we're going to do it also as the option of having a relay, which is not ordinarily done on the roads. You'd think relay is in association with track, but we are doing it as a relay, complete with batons. So we have a giant box of batons upstairs in my room, ready to go. And so there are a few people choosing to run it individually. That division is called the solo rocker division, but most people are signed up as a 2-person relay. So the course is about 1.5 miles. The total is a 5K exactly, but it's generally about a 1.5 mile loop. So the leadoff leg will have the baton. They're going to run this loop that runs along a very nice riverside waterfront neighborhood. And then they're going to come in, and we're going to have a little bit bigger of an exchange zone that we would have in a track meet. So it's about, I think it's probably close to about 100 meters of an exchange zone. So there's a big window as different road runners are going to come in at different paces and times, and they'll hand off the baton, and then the other second runner will complete the loop and head straight for the finish line, which is really heading towards the water. So it's about 50 feet from the water. So it's a nice waterfront finish.
Nice.
And then everyone can head inside River Rock. They're going to provide some food, and we have great raffle prizes. And all the money is going to Fulfill, which is the Monmouth Ocean County Food Bank. So it's 12 days before Thanksgiving. So we're going to be handing over a large chunk of money over to Fulfill in time for Thanksgiving for them to get to all the families in need in the shore area. So it's a good run for a great cause, and it should be a lot of fun. I am expecting as a high school track coach, I'm expecting some horrific handoffs. I do not expect people, some of the high school kids that are entered maybe a little better, but there's some adults that are going to be there, probably may have never done a handoff or maybe not since high school. So they may not be that crisp, but it should be a lot of fun.
So how did you come up with the idea of taking something from track and putting it into a road race?
Well, originally, my intention was to try to build this race actually as a marathon originally. My original idea had kind of stemmed from during the pandemic times. I had organized, when all the races had stopped, I organized a couple of small unofficial marathons just among friends. We had about anywhere from 10 to 18 people doing it, and we ordered race T-shirts so that it felt like legit and felt competitive. Because nice. You have the shirt, and it's complete.
Then it's
and then one of the ones we did, we called it the River Rock and Run, and we did it from the River Rock parking lot on a early Sunday morning. The River Rock had no idea what was going on. No one. we were in and out of there before. It was only like 18 people that one. We were gone before anyone was even there. So originally, it kind of did a part of that course, and then it went into the next town over, and it was a half marathon, a double marathon loop. And then as I started putting the race together, I realized that a marathon undertaking on the road is too much right now for me to do alone. That was not going to happen. And some of the neighboring towns didn't want those roads closed. It would have been a big undertaking. So the idea then was to make it a 5K, but I wanted it to be something unique and different. And a couple of years back, there had been a road relays 10K that was put on. That was a 2-person team where each partner ran a 5K in 2 different legs. And that was a great race, and I had a lot of fun with that. And then it just stopped and went away, and I hadn't seen anything like that before and haven't seen anything like it since. So it kind of is a good combination of cross country and track. And then what I've been telling a lot of high school kids is it's a nice transition. The cross country season is now winding down, and we're getting ready for winter track. So, kids who might be running a 2 mile, this is a nice little mile and a half, little off distance for them. Get to partner up with some high school teammates, work on those handoffs, get a little competitive juices going for a good cause. So that's how it kind of came about.
Yeah, I think this is a really cool concept because I've heard and I've had some friends that have participated in kind of like the marathon relays where people aren't necessarily built to run a marathon, but they can run a 10K. They can do something like that. And like people are like, get in a car and they drive as the person goes and meets them there. So I've heard of that, but this was cool too. And we're a bunch of running fans. So we understand what to kind of expect in those relays and in those handoffs. But for a lot of normies, a mile and a half, they're like, oh, that's so far. These handoffs are going to be pretty quick. Like a mile and a half, people running a mile and a half, finishing an exhausted mile and a half are going to be coming in pretty hot because they're going to want a decent time. So you really need to film the handoffs because I feel like that is going to be one of the most comical parts. And for everyone to look back at it, I feel like that could be one of the big highlights is filming the mess that is going to be some of these handoffs as some people that are just flat out exhausted, trying to run like a 9-minute mile and a half because they probably haven't, they're trying to get their running juices back together or just like, take the baton. It's going to be good. I'm excited.
And one more to add on that. First off, the finish is about a good, maybe 1/4 to a half mile downhill finish. So you have a nice, so talk about coming in hot. You're coming in on a nice little downhill. It's not a tremendous downhill, but it's enough to get the legs turning over. And as of right now, the forecast is calling for rain, so we're going to add in some batons slipping out of the hands too. Nice. But we are on rain or shine, and so it's still going to happen no matter what. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I think that the relay aspect is what's going to really make it different because you have a built-in crowd watching and waiting, like the race goes off, half the field's just waiting there, and we're going to have some music playing and try to make it a real kind of fun, festive atmosphere. And then as each leg comes in, because they're coming off the hill, they'll be able to see their runner coming in for almost a 1/4 mile, so we can get lined up because
that's really cool.
these are not going to be evenly matched teams. We don't know who's, we have some high school students running, we got some middle school students, we got some people in their 70s running. It's going to be and then when you get those anchor legs going, they might have people to suck up, and we've seen how exciting that could be in a track meet where when they taste that blood of passing somebody, and it should make it for a lot of fun.
The kick.
I expect an official there to make sure that every handoff is within the designated zone, and if not, you're out.
That'll be me, and it's a pretty big exchange zone. There should be no one handing outside of the exchange zone. It's pretty big.
It's almost
and actually
proof.
Yeah, and actually one of our sponsors, Hoka Shoes, is going to give us those big giant flags. We're going to have a whole area cordoned off for it's you cannot miss it. The exchange zone will be pretty clear.
Yeah. So also, I think real quick, I'm gonna just I think you need to make a rule within the zone. If the person taking it doesn't scream stick as loud as they can, they're DQ'd. They have to make it like a race. They have to yell stick. If they don't do that, they're DQ'd. They get pulled right off. I'm adding
that into my list of things. Absolutely, we'll be announcing that at the starting line.
They can be goofballs.
So in terms of the teams, you have different divisions, like all male, female, female.
Yep. So right now we have 6 divisions. We might add more in later years, but let's just get this off the ground the first year to see. But it's so we have an all male team, all female team, mixed, a family division, so people that might be running with their kids, a student relay, so any kids up to 12th grade. So the student division is going to vary from, we have some middle school kids. There's an 8-year-old that's signed up with one of their friends, up to 12th grade, that the student division. And then a coworker division. So trying to get some people to get some people and work together. So there's a couple of teachers from the high school where I teach are signed up. My dentist has got his team of hygienists are going to team up and try to beat him. He's going to run the 5K individually, and the hygienists are going to team up as a relay to try to beat him. So
that's awesome.
Some little office competition is going to go over well.
Will Coach Rivera be there running the race?
He was going to, but one of our girls qualified to be the champion. So it's not going to be able to make it there.
Wow, the excuses people come up with to not run a race. Like, what a terrible excuse.
Yeah, so for all those kids that didn't make the meet of champions, you want to get one more crack in before while you're in great shape. This is the time. Grab your partner, and I'm hoping a lot of teams are doing that, where some are going to be kind of pairing up, where maybe you team up your fastest guy and your fastest girl, or maybe you team up a senior with a freshman, and right, kind of let the relay happen. There's a lot of opportunities. It's only 2 people per team, so that's one thing we have going on there. And then each division will have an award winner, and then each division is going to have a couple different raffle prizes. We have some cool raffle prizes that are be given out that are donated by local businesses.
Can you still sign up now, or
exactly what I was going to ask?
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. The sign up is still going on. It's at it's through raceforum.com/River Rock, which is all as one word. So it's raceforum.com/River Rock, and people can sign up all the way up until race morning. In fact, and now that the timing company we're using is there's no paper registrations, no forms to fill out. It's just you come in, you scan the QR code, and they register right on their phone, so they can register right up until the race.
So what are the prices? What are people looking forward to? Just so everyone, because people, we're all about money. So what is it going to hit them in the pocket to go and get exhausted?
So for the students, $20 for the relays. Each runner is $25, and people choosing to do it in the solo division is just $30.
Okay.
And they have amazingly soft T-shirts that we have made up that are currently, there's boxes of them up in my room right now, and I went for the highest quality T-shirt because I'm a big fan of nice soft T-shirts for races. I don't like I don't like that dry fit stuff. It needs to be nice soft
cotton.
It's cotton blends, not just cotton.
Sorry,
love it.
We're very, very, very highbrow with the T-shirts here. So we got great T-shirts, and while they last, they're going fast because the registration's been picking up every day. And one of the most fun aspects of it is the team names. The team names has been
that's cool,
awesome. Some of the team names that come up with, some I have no idea what they mean. We'll find out on race day. Others
Here's a quick
are very
thing
creative.
To give you a hint. Don't announce them all. Don't announce them all publicly, because if one of them means something that you maybe shouldn't be saying, that this new younger or maybe run all the names by some of your high school athletes first, so then they can look at it and say, "Don't say that one, coach."
No,
you might get canceled for that one.
I've checked. I've checked. I can see them. They're okay. But listen, the results will be posted. They'll be able to see them, and actually the results are pretty instantaneous. Like the second they cross the finish line, the results get emailed. So we have a really cool system for that. So they'll be able to see, and they're going to break it down by division. So they'll see all the team names. My current favorite team name is my next door neighbor. has a family. It's they're stepsisters, but they're extremely close as family members. So their team name is Sisters from Different Misters.
That's fantastic. Nice. So
that is a solid name.
So Hyatt, what size shirt are you? Because I'm expecting one in my mailbox at some point soon.
Oh, I am
this event.
Nice comfy shirt, probably an XL.
We got an XL. We got an XL.
Large might be gone. I know large.
I'm going to try to stop by on Saturday to check it out since it's literally.
Well, yeah. So let's get some talking about representation. So you've listened to a few of our shows, right, Adam?
Yes.
So one of the things that I hope maybe you try to promote to some of the people, and if you need anything from us, we're more than willing to provide. We would like to send your PR campaign to be well known to the people there. And if anyone runs a PR or runs a strong race, we want to shout it out. We want to talk about your event next, on our next show, and give anyone there a shout out that had a great race. We want to talk, we'll talk about some of the race winners if they want. But, we would love for that campaign to be spread out because we want more runners to get recognized for the hard work that they do. So we're always fishing for PRs, big races, anything like that. So, let them know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. At the awards, I definitely can let them know that, especially as I think one of the things about this event is it's going to get some, veteran runners that are there, but because it's not as intimidating with the 1.5 mile distance, like you're going to get a lot of new people, first timers. So yeah, right off the bat, like, all right, it's a weird kind of off distance, but as a relay, here's your relay time. Like, whatever.
We're not going for
it may end up being.
We're not.
So
it doesn't
matter. Everyone starts somewhere.
Exactly. A PR is a PR. It doesn't matter when you
do what it is,
how you do it, where you do it. That's what we're looking for. So I want to ask you, because we've all done the race side. I've never organized a race. Hyatt, have you ever organized a race?
No.
Okay.
I have not. It just was an undertaking that I didn't think that I would ever be able to do. But knowing Adam, he's a very bright guy. He's very systematic in what he does. I can certainly see this, being a big success.
So yeah, you talked about organizing these marathons during COVID. I know a lot of my friends did it as well, and they would do a lot of the virtual ones too, where go run it, post your time, things like that. This is a legitimate organized race. Signups are there, shirts are made, awards are ready. What have been the trials and tribulations in terms of talking to the town, talking to the place, getting all the licenses and the permits and the things that you need to do? And is there butterflies growing more and more that maybe something's going to go wrong? Are you anticipating things screwing up already? Like, walk us through a little bit of the process and now where your head's at, only 5 days away from this race.
Yeah, I think you hit it right. You pretty much rattled off all the things that I had to go through. I had to get a special permit from the town. Had to fill out some paperwork there. Had to get race insurance. Had to go through setting up with the Brick Township Police for which roads are going to get closed off and which we're going to put signs up for. Getting it out there and promoting it. I spent a lot of time this summer going around to a couple different races and setting out tables to try to get people to get word of mouth out, because I really do believe this race, everyone that runs it is going to be back the next year. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. As far as the butterflies go right now, actually, now that I have all the permits in place, I have all the timing set up, all the t-shirts are in. Really, the only thing that's left at this point is the
weather.
And right now it looks like it's going to rain. But what's an advantage to this race versus some other ones is the restaurant is literally right there. The starting line is next to the parking lot. The finish line is about 100 feet from the door. Mm-hmm. So people can stay dry, stay inside the restaurant. There's a covered tent area. People can even stretch out, move around in the outside tent area, come out, run the race, back inside the warm restaurant. And the bathrooms will be inside the restaurant. So that's an advantage to whereas if you're just out and, huddle around porta potties where everything we have is able to use inside the restaurant. So I think we'll be all right. And if it's a little rain, it'll just make it a little more fun. So that's there. But yeah, it's been a lot. And then I also worked a lot over the summer to try to go out and get sponsors who wanted to help out financially with this. And a lot of places were excited. Some were not willing to donate financially to it at the time, but they were willing to donate like raffle prizes. So I got a lot of places that, hey, we can't give money to offset the cost, but hey, we can put together a little care package to raffle off. So we have a lot of cool prizes from like some of the raffle prizes that we're going to have are gift cards to Sunday's Ice Cream, to Tacoholics, a local local taco place in the shore area. They donate some stuff. Sushi restaurant donates stuff. So Current Rehab and Performance, they're a local gym and physical rehab center that they're going to donate some gift cards. And so we have a lot of places all giving stuff out. So there's gonna be a lot of cool prizes and awards to be given out. And the raffle prize will be a lot of fun.
Now, is this you just doing this solely by yourself, or did you have any input or help from any of the local running groups or running?
Yeah, it's pretty much was by me, but all the local running clubs were all very like the money's not going to their organization or their group. Everything is going to Phil. Every last penny is going right over to them. So it's not necessarily going to the running club, but like I've been a member of Jersey Shore Running Club for a lot of years, and they were great. I went to a couple of their meetings, and they've put it on their website and they promoted it. Same thing with the Shore AC, Freehold Area Running Club. So I contacted all those places, and it wasn't like there was a sense of, oh, this isn't our event, we don't want to promote it. Right. They were all about like, get the word out there. Let's get people. Some of them might be putting together teams and stuff. Bella in Motion, another local running club, they're putting a couple teams out there. So there wasn't a sense. I mean, I think that's a testament to the running community that,
oh yeah,
there wasn't a sense of like, oh, this isn't ours, let's not go to this. It was everyone's on board. I mean, so they were all kind of eager to help spread the word around. So yeah, that was great. But it was really just, I didn't really seek out like volunteers or help from those running clubs. I just said, hey, can you just help me in spreading the word? And actually Fulfill has actually come forward and given me some volunteers, people that volunteer through their organization. So they'll be out helping out because they're just a group that's trying to help people. So should be kind of a good vibe and energy of, even despite the rain, we're gonna have fun anyway.
So as the person who is running this event, does that kind of exclude you from being a participant?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. And I think that was my original, when I was planning this as a marathon. My wife was also a ultra marathon runner. She had said to me early on when I was originally planning as a marathon, she said, if you are organizing this, you can't run it, right? I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense, because if they're all the moving pieces, but then it turned into a 5K anyway, and so since I'm getting ready for a marathon, I'm doing Philadelphia the week after anyway. It's better. I don't need to do a 5K, 7 days out or 8 days out from the marathon. So it's fine.
Well, let's hope that Philadelphia is not as hot as it was yesterday.
No, and I keep checking the temperature, and it looks like it's going to get cold. So that's fine by me.
That's good. That's better. But yeah, you have our support fully here for that race. We hope it comes back next year. I definitely want to be more involved as a podcast next year and get behind it a little more. I wish we, knew this a little bit earlier and were a show a little bit earlier before, because we definitely would have been spreading the word. But 100%, this sounds like a great idea. Again, anyone listening, spread the word in the running community, because the more the merrier. Sign up for it. It's going to be a fun event. There's going to be good food there, some drinks, good family, everything like that. Go have fun this close to Thanksgiving. Don't go do the turkey trot in 3 weeks. Do this. All right.
And you can keep the batons too. We have enough batons if you want to keep it as a souvenir and practice the handoff work so people can keep the batons.
I mean, That's big for runners. So anyone that's a runner knows they've always wanted to keep a baton, and you're giving them out. That's fantastic. So I want to jump into, we mentioned that you're a coach over at South Brunswick. Now, we had the head coach, Wilfredo, on the show. And now I want to talk to you a little bit, because everyone obviously has different perspectives. And you guys went through a ton, like every other coach in the nation, around the world. COVID-19 hits, grandiose plans, doing a bunch of this. You have athletes coming back, seniors, juniors making a leap, freshmen you're looking forward to. Boom, COVID hits. Everything changes, right? The whole landscape changes. I feel like, Coach Wilfredo talked about, the way to coach kind of changes because the sensitivities of the athletes certainly changed a little bit. What has it been like coaching post-COVID?
It's been a little bit of a challenge. I mean, when you were saying about COVID and everything shut down, I remembered back to very early on when we didn't know how long this was going to last. And we were kind of saying, hey, stay in shape. And then as a way to for accountability, now Wilfredo coaches the distance runner. So very easy to track their runs on Strava and be able to see what they're doing. I end up coaching the sprinters and hurdlers and jumpers that they're not putting their stuff up on Strava. So to try to coach them through techniques, we had tried early on of basically we were having kids make hurdles out of just whatever they like, a couple of pieces of wood that they had in their house, and kids were setting up. So we were making videos of just hurdling over stuff like with garbage cans and a piece of wood. They were just going over hurdles in front of their house and sending me videos.
And not to be mean to the sprinter hurdler community, but in high school especially, you guys need a little more motivation to get moving because of all your natural ability. You guys are just kind of very much like, I'm going to be fast anyway. And, it takes a lot. I feel for you because, distance runners, I think anyone will agree, the work ethic just to want to do distance, you kind of have to have that ingrained in you anyway. Because
you've been doing it all year anyway.
Yeah.
Summer.
But with sprinters, it's definitely a little bit more of a challenge as a coach in high school because I coached sprinting over at Marist College. And it was a challenge getting post-high school athletes to still understand the grind of technique work, block work, why we have to do certain things. I can't imagine your challenge, especially during COVID, trying to get sprinters who really don't want to run all that much anyway,
jumping over garbage cans,
continue to do it. So, what was that like? I see, not to be mean, but the hair right there. Did you lose some of it during COVID because of all that?
Oh, absolutely. I was following Dave's lead, but yes,
mine was down way before COVID.
Yeah, it was tough. We actually had a group at the time of kids that we had a really good group of seniors that unfortunately did not get a chance to be there. And I know Wilfredo had mentioned, man, that team, we were ready on that team, but so unfortunately, but we didn't know how long this was going to go. So we were preparing as though it was coming up. So that was a tough time. Now, post COVID, as things have come back, it's been harder. I know Wilfredo had alluded to it, like that they kind of got off on their own and got separated. And, the thing with track and field, the beauty of the sport is that, you can train separately, but when you come together, that's when you're really at your best. So as we've been coming back, I think you can actually get by with the sprinters and hurdlers sometimes with not as much of that motivation because the races are so short and fast, and that talent sometimes, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who your guys are,
1,000%,
can overtake that. So, distance running, if you outwork them, in most cases, you're gonna see it. But in sprinting, sometimes they're just fast sometimes, and you're just fast. But the technique stuff, having that coming back, I think was great. I mean, you had kids who those technique events took a little bit of time, and I think we saw that this past year in some of the events. I really thought that the big event that I saw was in high jump this year, that you weren't having as many guys at a super high level because they probably didn't work it. Now, pole vault was still going because you still had some of those pole vault clubs that were still going, but there's not really high jump clubs. So when the teams weren't around that year, I feel like it did take a little while. Now, by the end of spring, I thought guys got popping off where the heights were getting, but early on, I thought it wasn't as strong as it usually was. But you still had top guys. I mean, our South Brother guy was the meet champ winner, so we still had guys jumping. So it was it was there, but I thought that took a little bit of time to come back.
Now, just like us, you were a distance runner all through your running career, still are. What was it like to have to go through that transition where maybe there wasn't a distance coaching spot available, so you had to completely learn all these new events? What was the process that you went through doing that? Did you go to clinics? Did you read a lot? Talk us through the process of going from something completely different than what you actually competed in.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a cool experience. So I had coached my first year at the middle school where I teach. I'd coached there the first year, and I realized right away that the middle school was not for me. I was way too intense and way too competitive, and those kids were just there to kind of have fun and be social, which is fine, and it was not for me. So when I looked for the high school next year, the only position they had was for pole vault. And I had never done pole vault before. So I did go to a track clinic, which was actually at Rutgers, that was run by one of our old coaches, Steve Theobald, who is the Jackson coach. He had been our assistant coach at Rutgers, so he had helped organize that. So I went there, took a lot of notes, kind of learned they actually had the coaches kind of doing some of the drills themselves. And then the very first day of practice, I walked out and we had a senior pole vaulter named Danny Mura who he had done 11 feet as a junior, and he walked up and he said, "You're the new pole vault coach?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Have you ever coached pole vault before?" I said, "Nope." I said, but here's what's going to happen. I go, I've learned some things. You're going to tell me stuff to look for. I'm going to look for things for you, and we're going to learn from each other. And we have absolutely great working relationship. And he went from 11 feet as a junior to 12.6 as a senior and won the county championship. So really, like, I learned a lot from him and he learned a lot from me. And it was a back and forth with him. And then we just kind of strung together a couple of years of really successful guys in the pole vault. I had a kid finish third in the meet of champions and jump 15 feet, which broke our school record till just a few years ago. So I really kind of got into pole vault. And then from there, started doing some of the jumping events. I ended up having again another string of really good jumpers. South Brunswick had good triple jumper. Our first year when triple jump was introduced, we had a kid who had grown up in England, so he had grown up triple jumping. So he kind of showed us how to triple jump. So we right away when triple jump came on, South Brunswick kind of jumped on it.
Yep.
And then a few years later, I ended up
unintended.
Ended up coaching kid John Pitt, who ended up being Group 4 champion and had the indoor state record for almost 10 years at 49.7.5 up until just this past year. So I just got the opportunity to, I think part of it is lucking out with just really great kids, but like, you know, working with John, and as he got better, I learned a lot from him, and just all these events just kind of fell into just having a passion for it. And, you know, one of the things I'm most proud of in coaching is that I've coached our school record holders in long jump, pole vault, high jump, 400 hurdles. And these are all events that I never did in high school. So as long as you have a passion for it and a willingness to learn, I think anything is possible.
I feel like that's got to be the major difference between coaching distance and then coaching some of the field events and the sprinting events is in distance, there are certain techniques and strategies that are kind of foolproof, right? Certain things that are going to work with most of your athletes. And if that doesn't work, kind of tweak it a little here and there. But there's kind of a generality on how to coach distance. When it comes to some of the sprinting and the technique stuff, you can learn from your amazing athletes that are doing things a little different that works, where you can build and then bring that to another athlete, because there is a lot of room to grow with the technique and with the different type of things. And especially you talked about pole vaulting and a high jump and things like that. Like, yeah, you can have a certain way that you like to measure steps, but then here comes this kid that's going to compete for the mocks, going to compete for meet of champions. And he has a certain way. And now it's not just I'm coach, you're doing it this way. It's okay, let's work together and figure out your style, which is very different than in distance where it's like there's only so many ways you want to go. Obviously, there's amazing distance kids where it's like, okay, that's your form. It's awful. Go win races. It can't really be that way in the more technique driven events, but there's such a symbiotic relationship between coach and athlete there where I'll give a little and we'll see what works there, but you got to also work with me. And you have to be a good coach to build that relationship with a bunch of 14 through 18-year-olds because they know everything. And when they're really good, they really know everything. So it's kind of, in a way, building their trust, a little bit of breaking them because showing them, okay, you're successful now, but this is what you can be if you try it my way. So talk about that a little bit, because if you experience the distance runner side and working with coaches there, and how much different is it in working with these more technique-driven athletes?
It's a little different, but I've been doing it so long now that it's kind of become a little bit of the norm. And I think part of it too is when you have had a couple of these successful things, I can say, hey, like when we do this triple jump drill, like this is what John Pitt did before he jumped 49 feet. So like, you know, this works. And then we've had even lesser kids sometimes, kind of we sort of like help develop something like this technique, and we'll say, all right, like we have certain drills that we've named after our former athletes. Like, all right, this is the exercise we're going to do. This is what this guy you made up and used to do. So we kind of bring that in where they're kind of building the culture as they go, and then they do buy in when it's like, oh, this guy was here, and I've been very lucky with kids we've had. Some of them have come back into practice, and they love to hear, you know, when some 25-year-old young man comes and talks to one of my sophomores and tells them, hey, listen to what Coach Nalven's saying, like this will work. That has a really big impact on them.
Absolutely.
The legends of the school coming back to talk to the team.
Huge.
Always helps. It really always helps. So I want to jump into a little bit more with the coaching side in terms of the psyche of the athlete. Post COVID-19, I feel like a lot of, kids got the worst of it. We all suffered. COVID-19 sucked for everyone. no one had it worse than the kids. They were pulled out of school for a ridiculous amount of time. Even going back into school, it was so rocky of, you can go in now. Oh, we have to go back out. Oh, you can go in. You have to wear a mask. You don't wear a mask. Who is medically exempt? Who is it? It was so messy for kids that didn't need this to happen. And I feel like mentally, it really messed with a lot of kids. And now you're trying to coach track athletes where the mental aspect is a huge portion of being a good track athlete, because, man, the pressure of being alone on the line and knowing everything that happens post that gun is on me. There is no team I can blame it on. It is a big mental pressure and a mental hurdle each and every single time you jump onto that line. So what were the challenges now coming in with kids that maybe you looked at, you had them as freshmen before it happened, and you're like, okay, that kid had pretty good mental toughness, I think, going to be okay. And then they come in and they're just not the same individual. Did you experience that a few times? And what was your approach coming back with, knowing that maybe these kids might be a little bit more mentally distraught? Or was your communication level good enough to gauge that?
Yeah, I think we were. I think we were able to gauge that. It wasn't as much, I think, as you would have thought. I think the kids that were, the kids we call gamers, like the gamers, they came back and they were ready to go. So I don't think it was as drastic as maybe, like, I'm trying to think, and like in terms of like the kids who were hurdlers, like they were so excited to come back and hurdle, because we've been hurdling over garbage cans on their front lawn, and I have videos of that stuff. So I think they were eager to come back and get over those, especially all the stuff that with the implements. Like, again, you could run anywhere, but being able to get over the high jump bar, being able to get over the hurdles again, being able to get into all those implement events. So I think there wasn't as much of that mental loss as maybe there could have been. Maybe with some of the like the guys who were just straight sprinters, maybe a little bit. I felt like we had a really good run of like 400-meter guys, and then there was a little bit of a drop off, and maybe that 400 takes a little bit more of a mental toughness thing. But I don't even know if that had to do with COVID or just the kids on the team at the time, and they excelled at other events. But I think now last year felt like the first time like it was back for real. And that was great to experience.
Do you attribute a lot of their motivation to really want to come back to a lot of the success of your program? Because I mean, let's face it, if it was a subpar program, you're not going to compete for, a division title or whatever it is. You're not competitive in the county, the conference. I think was there definitely motivation knowing that, hey, if we come back with our heads on straight, there's a good chance we were a juggernaut when we left. Let's continue this tradition because we're proud South Brunswick athletes. Was that a big factor in them, a lot of them probably coming back that way?
Yeah, 100%. And that was something, Coach Rivera kind of stressed from the beginning of, we have to go back and now win this for those guys that couldn't be there. And like one of our top sprinters, Ola Porbeni, he was one of the fastest sprinters in Group 4, that he would have been a big part of that team that probably would have won Group 4. Now, hey, we'll never know for sure, but his younger brother, Carol, was on the team and is still on the team now. So when we won our sectional title last year, like it was like, hey, this is for your whole family. Like this is your brother too. He's a part of this. And those guys had that understanding of there's guys that missed out on this championship. We're going to go back and win it for them. And some of them have been around and they saw that and they know these guys. So that was a really cool dynamic. And that was kind of a way to play into that psychological game a little bit to get them into that.
That's really awesome.
So I kind of want to delve into a little bit about your wife, Amy. How cool is it to see her train for an ultra marathon? I mean, I'm not sure if everybody out there knows what an ultra marathon, what that actually entails, but that is some crazy, crazy stuff. So what is it like being, her support system while she's training for a race of that caliber?
Yeah, it's a different animal of different sport. We just went trail running this weekend, and I could not even begin to keep up with her. Trail running is a totally different sport, uses different muscles, and I felt like a kid on the first day of cross country practice after not running all summer. It's even though I'm in marathon shape, I could barely get up any of these trails. So seeing her there do that and getting to like peek into the ultra running community a little bit. Like I don't claim to be, I have run a 50K. So I guess that's kind of an ultra marathon, but seeing that community of like the dedication they have and the mental toughness, it's unbelievable. And there's a whole nother world there of stuff that you guys can experience. You talk to some ultra runners. You can talk to Amy another time and get to hear what that's about. But it's pretty incredible the stuff that they go through. But it's like anything. It's relative to people who run a marathon or people who run the 5K look at me as a marathon and go like, oh wow, that's crazy. That's so much. I'm like, nah, it's nothing. I've done so many of them. This is like number 29 or 30 to me. People that do ultras, they look at marathons like it's that's nothing. That's not a big deal. They go to their I know people that run 100Ks, 100 milers, 200 milers, and it's amazing. But I think that the mental aspect of that is unbelievable.
She has an open invite. We would love to have some ultra marathon, ultra runner insight because
one of the biggest ultra marathons actually ends on the track. The Western States 100 mile, which is like kind of the grand ultra race that actually finishes with a lap around a high school track. So that would tie into talking in ovals as well.
We're all about. One more thing. I obviously I'm friends with you and Amy on Facebook, and it was so cool seeing how proud that you guys were after your son's was this his first year running cross country?
No, he ran. He's in 8th grade, so he ran 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So he's been running.
What is that like as a parent watching your child do what you did?
Oh, it's great. I mean, he probably doesn't love it yet the way we do, but he's showing some interest to it and enjoys it. And I just kind of let him know like he's already worlds faster than I was in 8th grade. So he's off to a good start. Hopefully he enjoys it and may continue with it. But it's good. All the middle school kids, a lot of the friends and kids he grew up with, do a little bit of running. So it's great to be able to cheer them on. And you do see the just excitement about like just the team aspect of cross country, to see that at the young level. And a couple of his teammates have started signing up for my race. So because that's the distance that actually middle schoolers run, they run a mile.
Yeah. I coached middle school cross country for many years, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, so it's fun seeing the enthusiasm for that, and actually even like because I teach at the middle school. When I was at the county meet for the high school, they were coming in and they were excited to see me there, and kind of in a different aspect of seeing them, my students during the day, and then saw me in a cross country race. It was like a totally different like, Mr. Nalven, what are you doing here? And then they didn't really put the two together. So it's cool being able to see that. It's a good sport for them to participate in, as you guys know, because you can improve so much. I had a trajectory of improvement from when I started. I mean, when I started in high school, my freshman year, my fastest time for 5K was 23 minutes. My sophomore year, I think it was 21 minutes. Then my junior year was, I think it was 17:30, and my senior year was 16:35. So like you can have those drops, and everyone goes through a different progression to where they get, and there's so many different levels of success people can have. And
there's no better video that I've ever seen than Adam's sectional races senior year. He qualifies to get 6th place to move on to groups. And I believe that the kid in front of him fell 3 times.
Yes, this is correct. So it's I do have a video of it. It is one of the most amazing. It is one of the most amazing videos you'll ever see. I do not have it on YouTube. People have asked me to put it on YouTube. I don't put it on there because I'm afraid it will turn viral. And I don't want to embarrass the kid that fell. But basically, yes, I was battling for 6th place in Central Jersey Group 4. And at a mile, the kid in front of me was in 5th. I was in 6th. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, he fell face first into the ground. And I jumped over him. Okay, now I'm in 5th. Lap later, comes back. He's on my shoulder. Exact same kid, same spot. Boom, full just face plant to the ground. So I go, what's going on here? So I start picking up the pace. So I start picking it up, and I kind of surge a little too early because now with a lap left, not only did he pass me, another kid passed me. So now the kid who fell is in 6th. I'm in 7th. The race is finishing up. This is it. This is my senior year. 90 meters to go. And at 90 meters with not a single soul around him on a perfectly dry day, face plant into the track, and I sprint past him. And
I remember watching that. I was like,
it is all on video. And I came back up to the stands, and I said to my dad, who very rarely came to my races, but he did come with a camera that day. And I said, please tell me you got that on video. And he's like, yep.
It is. I remember watching in college. I'm like, what just happened? The same kid 3 times. It was unbelievable.
Yeah. So at the end of that story is what ended up happening was the reason he fell was his coach had given him fresh spikes that day and had accidentally given him the 1/2-inch javelin spikes.
Oh, no.
1/2 inch is ridiculous for any
1/2 inches is a lot. So that
Way to go,
mistake worked out in my favor.
Yeah, listen, hey.
Obviously that kid was pretty damn fast though.
Yeah, he got up and we actually became friends. He went to Rutgers and we actually became friends. But after that race, he was so demoralized. He actually he stopped running. That was the end of his that was a demoralizing moment. So not a great ending for him. But we became friends. And freshman year, he used to call me before our cross country meets and wish me good luck. And
nice.
And so we remain friends.
Hi, I'm starting to feel left out with all of our guests here. You guys are all Rutgers guys. Like I wore red, but it was Marist red. It wasn't Rutgers red. Starting to feel left out here. I might have to go and go do a graduate class at Rutgers just so I can be like, hey,
just get a few credits.
I'm a Rutgers fan, so that helps. I like Rutgers football. So lastly, before we close out, we like to ask everybody, first off, I want to get your opinion on Meet of Champions. We ask everyone in New Jersey. Obviously, they've been contemplating, and it seems like eventually the Meet of Champions will go away. Seems like that's kind of what New Jersey wants. They're getting away with a lot of the other tournaments. We're one of the rare states that really does what we do, where we bring all the group champions, bring them together, and really decide one big race who's the best. In all of our running events, XC, indoor, outdoor. How do you feel about the potentially taking away the Meet of Champions when, God, it's one of the most historical races, like some of the best races and times in the nation have come from this event. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's a shame. It seemed like, from my understanding, is the direction it was all kind of going to go away this year, and then they were able to kind of reel it back in with what they're going to have next week. Yeah. And when I looked at the qualifiers and everything, it seems like what they have next week is if they can keep that going, that'd be fine. You're still getting the best individuals. You're still getting the best team. So on paper right now, I think it looks like this will work. This will be fine. And you're still going to get those top kids and still get that top team. So hopefully it stays like this, and then we'll kind of go from there. But I think there's enough voices of coaches and people that are at the top that they know that you can't treat all sports exactly the same. So I understand the reasoning for getting rid of it in other places, the time it might take, but extending the season 1 week with one more race that's been going on for whatever many years it's been going on. Yeah. I think it seems like right now the position it's in is it's going to work out just fine. So hopefully it'll stay like that.
Yeah, I mean there's so many issues that I feel are kind of there for track in the state. Last spring I thought was an utter disaster with all those national meets, and then kids having to miss Meet of Champs and having 3 national meets. But that's a topic for a different day. But I was kind of happy that, because I was very, very fearful that almost all of the wild cards would come from Group 3 and 4, but there actually were some smaller.
It was pretty spread out. I actually just looked at this today
about that.
Yeah, that's when I noticed actually one of our girls from South Brunswick had made it. I noticed that list, it wasn't as one-sided as I thought it would be. You saw a bunch of Group 2 teams, 3 teams got in there. So, the people up top that made this plan seemed like it worked out for the good of it.
Yeah, and if anybody's listening in New Jersey with the Athletics Commission, running, especially XC, is different than every other sport in a lot of ways. If we know we have an athlete that's potentially Meet of Champions material, we are going to train them for championship season to make sure that their legs are at their best, the risk of injury is low, because our coaches are very skilled in creating training plans for these types of athletes. So if injury is the concern, it can happen at any time, especially in XC when they're running all over courses. And for people that don't know, XC is a contact sport, is a very physical sport when you're back there in those trails. But yeah, no, it's ridiculous to try and compare running in general, because with the way we're able to plan out seasons and with the way we're able to plan, build up phase, regular season phase, championship phase, tapering, all those types of things is very different than any other sport. So I hope cooler minds continue to prevail.
And I think it will. Hopefully. And if it doesn't, they can always register for the River Rock and Run Relay that will be going on the same
absolutely.
Day. No, just kidding. I don't think it.
No, I agree.
The kids that are doing there, it's a different crowd that's running that. So I think I think hopefully I think the format it is right now hopefully the race will go off well, and it'll continue on as it is. So it's got such great history to it.
Does. So before we go, because we've been on here miraculously, it's so easy to talk for an hour when you're talking about the things you like to, enjoy. But track and field, it had one of the best seasons, I think, in a long time in terms of the professionals. And especially Americans, they really showed out really well at Worlds. Outside of kind of the middle distance, I think they struggled a little, but it was pretty good. But we're looking at the best medal count we've ever had at Worlds, ever in a country. And who's still talking about it? What the hell can we do in this country? Do you have any ideas on how we can continue to make this sport popular? Because if any time for us to push track and field, we have a world record holder and arguably going to be one of the greatest sprinters in the history to ever do it in Sydney McLaughlin when she's done. You have a Thing Mo on the other women's side who might end up being one of the greatest 800-meter runners of all time when all is said and done.
And they are now training together.
Together.
I saw that.
With Bob Kersey. They are now training
in
partners.
California. I saw that.
Yeah,
awesome.
Crazy.
You have Noah Lyles, who is not done growing and can legitimately eventually possibly challenge Usain Bolt's times. I don't know if he's going to get them, but we will have some exciting moments with him. And there are so many other names. Fred Curley, Michael Norman. There's so many names that they can be pointing to now and really pushing. And they're gone. Season's done. We're in the off season and nobody knows anything about these amazing athletes.
It's always been this way, and it's such a shame.
Is there any ideas coming from you that maybe what can we do to grow this sport? It's such a great sport, and this is the time to do it.
I actually do have some ideas, but I don't know how viable they are. But give you a prime example of in the I think it was in the trials when Noah Lyles. Was it? Yeah, it was the trials when Noah Lyles flew by Arian Knighton at the end and kind of pointed to him and gave him that little look. That was really exciting, that part. Yeah. And you saw the reaction on Twitter of all these people, that little bit of trash talk. That was awesome. A few hours later, Noah Lyles came out on Twitter and calmed the storm a little bit and said, no, that's not what I meant. No disrespect. Unfortunately, yes, that's the right thing to do sportsman-wise type thing. But to get America's attention, they needed to fan that flame a little bit. Talk a little trash. He should have said something along the lines of yeah, not yet, young one. It's not your time yet. That would have gotten the public's interest. That would have gotten the regular people. That would have gotten on ESPN. But instead, I think the quality of athletes are also super high quality human beings. And I think they're all such nice, awesome people, and they're so dedicated, and it comes through. I think you need a little bit of evil.
It's the nature of the sport.
Yeah, I think I think you need a little bit. I was just actually reading some old article about Dennis Rodman of that type of personality, that little different, that was saying some outrageous things. Well, I think the sport needs that, and I don't know if the current crop has that.
Michael Johnson, Mo Green, they had that.
Yes,
they hated
absolutely.
Everybody.
Usain Bolt,
everyone
wasn't like that.
Bolt. Yeah,
Usain Bolt had that too.
Yeah, but he just had that I'm not losing.
The moxie.
The moxie.
Yes.
Just
so I think to get the track fans are on board, but I think to get the attention of the non-track people to watch that, think about the popularity of the UFC, the way all the pre
press conferences,
press conferences are of all the hype and the talking trash and the stare down.
I would love that.
I think I'd be great, but it would be disingenuous to tell people hey, athletes, Sydney McLaughlin, I want you to start talking smack to the thing move. That's not going to happen. That's not their personalities. Right. But if someone emerges that is like that, and maybe Knighton has that little bit to him, he showed fierceness for a high school kid. To not back down from that. So I think that could grow the sport possibly.
So trash talk number one. I like it.
Yeah, it's got to be a little bit, but you don't want it to be turned into too much of a sideshow, but I think to get everyone else's attention, I think that has to come in a little bit. But I don't know if that's going to ever happen, but we'll see. But it's possible.
I think that could definitely work from a sprinter perspective. Unfortunately, I don't know if you'll ever really raise the popularity of distance running, because really only distance runners themselves actually follow it. It's just something that people just outside of people who do it, there is no interest. And it's a shame, because we all love it, but it's hard to get someone to sit and watch someone run.
But I do think, at least from as being a marathoner and a fan of marathons, I think right now the marathon field, particularly on the women's side, has a lot of intrigue. And I think a lot of people and some of the things of like technology have made it more accessible, where like people are following these runners on not just Facebook and Twitter, but like on Strava too. You can see how these elite athletes are training. And I think it's generating an interest. Again, it's probably still among runners, but there's thousands and thousands of people. I always say it's amazing that, you can't get a kid to run in, gym class, doesn't want to run a mile, yet 50,000 people are getting rejected from the New York City Marathon every year. So somewhere along the way that, people discover it maybe later on in life.
We also think, that there's that the TV coverage is not always.
Yeah, that's been something where when they're breaking for commercial during the lap where it's going to break out. That's kind of crazy.
You can get it, but you got to pay for Peacock.
And the thing is, Hyatt, you mentioned distance running and how not many people are watching it. And you mentioned kind of the trash talk Moxie, Adam. And, you have, I can't pronounce his last name for the life of me, but Jakob Ingebrigtsen, I think I butchered it. He has that moxie.
Yes, he does.
He walks into every race, and I guarantee when everyone's shaking hands, he's shaking hands going, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Like, he does not think he's going to lose, and he carries himself that way. And he, not to be mean to Jakob, you're a great runner, but when he has that smugness, he has a punchable face. And you need those heels in the sport.
Yes,
and
that's a good way to.
Nobody wants to.
Yep. It's like that old WWE type thing. Yes. Yeah, you need that heel where the crowd loves to boo, but they're into it and they're excited. And that'd be, Dave, we used to love wrestling back in college.
I still
the '90s era. That was great.
I still love
we watched it. Nothing better than
but it's like
Monday Raw and a bottle of vodka.
But that's the thing that we need, and we need to promote him, even in America. Let's promote Jakob, because
I love him.
Else would be great to root against to get the triple. Like, people would be having a rooting interest to not to get him have the triple. That's what we need. But that's what we need. We need people like that. And then when he does it, he could just kind of give like the WWE suck it sign to the camera, and there you go. Track's on the map. That's how you do it. Get Jakob to give the suck it sign to the camera.
We just solved everything.
Just send this to USATF, and then everything is solved.
Oh my God. All right. So, Adam, thank you so much for coming on, brother. It was a good time.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Once again, he's Coach Adam Nalven. He's the race director for, as you heard, the new, exciting, amazing, hopefully around for a long time, road race called the River Rock and Run Relay. He's also a marathoner. He's a high school coach at a juggernaut of a school in New Jersey, South Brunswick. And it was lots of fun having him on. So again, where can people sign up for your race and if they want to do it? And it's on November 12th.
It's at raceforum.com/riverrock, as River Rock is all one word. And like I said, people can register up until even that morning. It's set and ready to go.
Awesome. Dave, do you have anything else before we close out?
I just want to say
thank you.
Best of luck on Saturday. I'm sure it's going to be.
Dave, you coming to run the solo division, or you get?
I am not coming to run.
Mile and a half, man. You can do it.
Can he bike it?
Handoff. I know the handoff will be crisp.
Listen,
can he bike it?
The road will be there. The biking might be more dangerous in the rain than running it.
I might run a mile and a half at the pace that you're going to run your Philly Marathon in. So.
It is also walker friendly. I have some people that are just walking the whole thing.
There you go. I will do my best to try to stop by. What's the start time? 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Yeah. So I'll be there. I'll be there early if you want to pop on by. I'll be there setting up.
I might try to stop by.
Very cool. So once again, as we mentioned in the show, send us your PR. If anyone's listening to this, if you run a good race, if you know coaches, if you are a coach, an athlete does something, send it to us. We want to give them a shout out. We talked about, my alma mater, Marist, did some good things at the Max last week. We want to talk about that type of stuff more. So please send it our way. We want you to have it in the ether, have some pride in what you do. Doesn't matter if you win the race or not. If you have a PR, we want to know about it, because track and running is so unique that you can win while not winning in this sport. Hi, you got one more thing?
One more shout out to Nicholas Lafredo of Manchester Township, third place at the Group 2 Championships this week, and on to the Meet of Champs. He is 4 seconds off of the school record set by Ian Hahn.
Is that a home bell PR for him too?
That was his PR. So he's got 4 more seconds, but great race, Nick. And best of luck on Saturday.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Nick. So again, once again, Talking to Nobles, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. I'm Alex. He's Dave. Please go follow us on Talking to Nobles. You'll get some great content, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. So long, y'all.